Story 1. The Ghost Ship's Call. Our first chilling account takes us to the vast, unforgiving expanse of the North Atlantic, a graveyard for countless vessels and the birthplace of chilling legends. It was the winter of 1978, and the fishing trawler, the Sea Serpent, was battling a fierce storm. Its crew of 5 seasoned fishermen struggling against the relentless waves. Captain Elias Thorne, a man whose life had been spent on the sea, felt a gnawing unease that had nothing to do with the tempest's fury. His crew, hardened by years of battling the elements, were equally on edge. The air was thick with an unnatural cold, a chill that seeped into their bones despite the warmth of their oilskins, and the compass spun wildly, defying all reason, its needle dancing, a frantic, meaningless jig. Then, through a momentary, terrifying break in the swirling snow and spray, they saw it. A ship, not a modern vessel, with its gleaming steel and powerful engines, but an ancient 3-masted schooner, its sails tattered and torn, resembling decaying wings. Its hull scarred by centuries of ocean travel, a relic from a forgotten era. It moved, with an impossible, eerie grace, cutting through the mountainous waves without a single light on its deck, a silent specter against the tumultuous gray, a phantom ship sailing on a sea of nightmares. It was a ghost ship, a vessel from another time, and with a horrifying inevitability, it was heading directly for them. Hard to starboard, Elias roared, his voice barely audible above the storm's deafening roar, a desperate plea against the encroaching doom. The helmsman wrestled with the wheel, his muscles straining, his face contorted in a mask of fear. But it was as if the schooner was drawn by an invisible, irresistible force, a malevolent magnet pulling it towards its spectral counterpart. The ghost ship loomed larger, its skeletal masts scraping against the bruised, angry sky, like skeletal fingers reaching for them. As it drew closer, the crew of the Sea Serpent could make out details that sent shivers down their spines, details that would forever haunt their waking hours. The deck was covered in a thick, green moss, slimy and ancient, and the rigging hung like decaying spider webs, glistening with an unnatural dew. But it was the figures on the deck that truly froze their blood, turning their veins to ice. Silhouetted against the storm-ravaged sky were dozens of figures, gaunt and skeletal, their forms barely human, their faces obscured by shadow, featureless voids that seemed to absorb the light. They stood motionless, their arms outstretched, as if beckoning, their silent invitation a chilling promise of eternal torment. A chilling, ethereal chant seemed to emanate from them, a song of sorrow and despair that echoed across the roaring ocean, a mournful dirge for the lost and the damned. Elias felt an overwhelming, insidious urge to join them, to step onto that ancient, moss-covered deck and become one with their spectral crew, to surrender to the siren song of the abyss. He fought against it, his knuckles white as he gripped the railing, his teeth gritted, a desperate battle against an unseen enemy. The ghost ship passed so close that Elias could almost reach out and touch its decaying, barnacle-encrusted hull, its ancient timbers groaning a silent lament. A wave of profound, soul-numbing cold washed over the Sea Serpent, and the air filled with the stench of brine and decay, a putrid odor that clung to their clothes and permeated their very beings. As the schooner glided past, one of the spectral figures, a tall, gaunt man with a captain's hat, its brim pulled low over its shadowed face, turned its head. Its eyes, hollow pits of darkness, seemed to bore into Elias's very soul, a gaze that stripped him bare, exposing his deepest fears. A silent, agonizing scream tore through Elias's mind, a scream that wasn't his own, but an echo of the countless souls trapped on that cursed vessel, a symphony of torment. Then, as quickly as it appeared, the ghost ship vanished, swallowed by the swirling snow and the raging storm, leaving behind only the deafening roar of the wind and waves. The silence that followed was more terrifying than any noise, a void that screamed of unspeakable horrors. The compass on the Sea Serpent slowly returned to normal, its needle trembling, and the unnatural cold began to dissipate, leaving behind a lingering chill that would never truly leave them. The crew stood frozen, their faces pale, their eyes wide with unspeakable horror, their bodies rigid with shock. They had all seen it, felt it, and heard the chilling call of the phantom crew, an experience that would forever bind them to the mysteries of the deep. Elias Thorne never spoke of that night again, not truly. He continued to fish, his life a monotonous rhythm of nets and tides, but a part of him remained on that spectral deck, forever haunted by the encounter. The crew of the Sea Serpent eventually disbanded, each man carrying the indelible mark of their encounter, their lives irrevocably altered by the chilling vision. Some say that on particularly stormy nights in the North Atlantic, if you listen closely, you can still hear the mournful chant of the ghost ship, forever sailing the seas, forever calling for new souls to join its cursed crew, a chilling reminder of the ocean's dark secrets. And sometimes, a lone trawler will report a sudden, inexplicable drop in temperature, a compass spinning wildly, and the faint, distorted blast of a foghorn from a ship that isn't there, a phantom echo of a that refuses to be forgotten, a haunting melody carried on the wind for all eternity. Story 2. The Deep Sea Abomination. Our second terrifying dive takes us thousands of feet beneath the surface, into the crushing darkness of the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the world's oceans. It was 2015, and the research submersible Triton was on a groundbreaking mission, exploring an uncharted hydrothermal vent system. Dr. Eris Thorne, a brilliant but reclusive marine biologist, led the expedition, driven by a lifelong fascination with the ocean's most extreme environments, a man whose entire existence revolved around unraveling the mysteries of the deep. The Triton, a marvel of engineering, a testament to human ingenuity, was designed to withstand pressures that would crush a battleship, its hull a fortress against the unimaginable forces of the abyss. Inside, Eris and his two-person crew, pilot, Captain Eva Rostova, a woman of steely nerves and unparalleled skill, and geologist Dr. Kenji Tanaka, whose quiet demeanor belied a sharp, analytical mind, were meticulously collecting data, their faces illuminated by the eerie glow of their instruments. The descent was long, an agonizing crawl into the absolute darkness, broken only by the Triton's powerful floodlights, which cut through the inky blackness like twin beams of hope. Piercing the eternal night, they had reached their target depth, a surreal landscape of towering black smokers, spewing superheated water from the Earth's core, and bizarre, alien-like creatures, their forms grotesque and beautiful in equal measure, adapted to an existence beyond human comprehension. Eris was ecstatic, his voice filled with scientific wonder as he described a newly discovered species of tube worm, its vibrant red plumes a stark contrast against the blackness, a tiny beacon of life in an otherwise desolate world. Then, the sonar picked up something, a massive, unidentifiable object, moving with impossible speed directly towards them, a blip on the screen that defied all known parameters. It was unlike anything they had ever seen on their screens, a signature that sent a cold dread creeping into their hearts. "What is that?" Eva whispered, her voice tight with apprehension, a tremor of fear betraying her usual composure. Kenji, usually unaffable, a man who had faced countless geological anomalies without a flicker of emotion, stared at the monitor, his jaw slack, his eyes wide with a mixture of terror and disbelief. The object was enormous, dwarfing the Triton, a leviathan of the deep, and its shape was utterly alien, a chaotic mass of undulating tentacles, bioluminescent eyes that pulsed with an ancient, malevolent light, and razor-sharp appendages that seemed to tear at the very fabric of the water. It was a creature from a nightmare, a living abomination from the deepest reaches of the planet, a being that should not exist. The creature slammed into the Triton, sending a jolt through the submersible that threw the crew against their restraints. Their bodies flung about like rag dolls. Lights flickered, alarms blared, a cacophony of mechanical distress, and the pressure hull groaned ominously, a sound that spoke of imminent collapse, of the crushing embrace of the abyss. Eris, despite the terror that threatened to consume him, was mesmerized. He had never imagined such a being could exist, a creature that defied all biological classification, a living paradox. Its eyes, vast and luminous, seemed to peer directly into his soul, filled with an ancient, malevolent intelligence, a predatory gaze that stripped him bare. It wasn't just attacking, it was studying them, analyzing their fear, savoring their helplessness. The creature began to tear at the Triton, its massive tentacles wrapping around the hull, their suction cups leaving grotesque imprints on the reinforced metal, attempting to pry open the viewport to gain access to the fragile beings within. Eva desperately tried to engage the thrusters, her fingers flying across the controls, but the submersible was pinned, held fast in the creature's unyielding grip. Kenji, fighting his own terror, his hands trembling, tried to activate the emergency beacon to send a desperate plea for help to a world thousands of feet above. But the creature's attacks had severed their communications, leaving them isolated, adrift in a sea of despair. They were alone, thousands of feet down, at the mercy of an unknown horror, a predator from a realm beyond human comprehension. Just as the viewport began to spiderweb with cracks, thin lines of impending doom spreading across the reinforced glass, Eris, in a desperate, final act of self-sacrifice, activated the Triton's self-destruct sequence, a protocol designed for catastrophic failure, a last resort to prevent the creature from ever reaching the surface, from ever being discovered by a world unprepared for its existence. He knew it was their only chance, not to escape, but to protect humanity from an unimaginable threat. The last thing he saw was the creature's vast, luminous eye, mere inches from the viewport. A flicker of something akin to surprise, then rage, before the world exploded in a blinding flash. A silent, violent end to their terrifying ordeal. The Triton was never recovered. The official report cited a catastrophic structural failure due to extreme pressure, a convenient explanation for an inconvenient truth. But those who knew Eris Thorn and the secrets he sought whispered of something far more terrifying, a truth too horrifying to contemplate. They spoke of an abomination from the deep, a creature that should never have been disturbed, a horror that remains, lurking in the crushing darkness, waiting for the next unsuspecting vessel to venture into its domain, its ancient eyes watching, its massive form patiently waiting. And sometimes, deep in the ocean, sonar operators report faint, unidentifiable echoes, patterns that defy known marine life, patterns that seem to be watching, a chilling reminder of the horrors that lie hidden beneath the waves, waiting for their moment to emerge. Story 3. The Sirens, Song Hour. Third unsettling tale transports us to a remote, uninhabited island in the South Pacific, a place of breathtaking beauty and ancient, forgotten legends. It was 2005, and a small group of ecological researchers, led by the idealistic Dr. Lena Petrova, had set up a temporary camp on the island, studying its unique flora and fauna. Lena was passionate about conservation, a woman dedicated to understanding and protecting the natural world. Her life's work a testament to her unwavering belief in the delicate balance of nature. The island was a paradise, untouched by human development, its beaches pristine, its jungles teeming with life, a verdant Eden seemingly untouched by the ravages of civilization. But as the days turned into weeks, Lena and her team began to notice strange occurrences. Equipment would malfunction without explanation, supplies would go missing, and a pervasive sense of unease settled over the camp, a chilling premonition of something sinister lurking beneath the surface of paradise. Most disturbing of all was the music. It began subtly, a faint, beautiful melody carried on the evening breeze, a whisper of sound that seemed to caress the air. It was unlike any music they had ever heard, a haunting, hypnotic tune that seemed to emanate from the ocean, itself a melody woven from the very fabric of the waves. At first, they dismissed it as a trick of the wind, or perhaps a rare, exotic bird. Its song carried on the currents, but the melody grew stronger each night, drawing them, pulling at something deep within their souls, an irresistible force that tugged at their very essence. It was undeniably beautiful, yet profoundly unsettling. A beauty that hinted at a hidden danger, a sweetness laced with poison. One evening, Mark, the team's youngest member, a keen swimmer with an almost childlike love for the ocean, was found walking towards the ocean, his eyes glazed over, a blissful, almost vacant smile on his face. He was humming the melody, a haunting echo of the siren's call. Lena and the others managed to stop him just before he entered the water, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and desperation. But he fought them, his strength unnatural, his eyes filled with a desperate, primal longing for the sea, a yearning that transcended reason. They had to restrain him, tying him to his cot, where he thrashed and cried out for the music, for the ocean, his pleas a chilling testament to the siren's insidious power. The next night, it was Sarah, the team's botanist, a woman of logic and reason. She too was drawn to the sea, her movements slow and deliberate, as if in a trance, her mind ensnared by the hypnotic melody. Lena, now terrified, her scientific skepticism shattered, realized the horrifying truth. This wasn't just music. It was a siren's song, an ancient, malevolent force luring them to their watery graves. A predatory entity disguised as beauty. The island, so beautiful on the surface, was a trap, a hunting ground for something ancient and hungry, a place where paradise concealed a terrifying secret. Lena and the remaining team members barricaded themselves in their main tent, piling equipment against the entrance, but the melody permeated their defenses, seeping into their minds, twisting their desires, eroding their will. They fought against its hypnotic pull, their wills slowly eroding, their resolve crumbling under the relentless assault of the siren's call. Lena saw the desperation in her colleagues' eyes, the longing for the ocean, the terrifying surrender to the siren's call. She knew they wouldn't last much longer, their sanity hanging by a thread in a desperate act of self-preservation. A last-ditch effort against the encroaching madness, Lena grabbed a flare gun. With trembling hands, she fired it into the air, a desperate plea for help, a tiny beacon against the vast, indifferent ocean, hoping to attract any passing vessel, knowing in her heart it was a futile gesture. The siren's song was now deafening, filling her entire being, consuming her thoughts, twisting her perceptions. She saw shadowy figures moving outside the tent, their forms indistinct, their movements fluid, like creatures of the deep, their presence a chilling confirmation of her worst fears. They were coming for them, the ancient predators of the deep, drawn by the siren's call, ready to claim their next victims. The next morning, a passing fishing boat discovered the abandoned camp. The tent was ripped, supplies scattered, and the research equipment lay broken, a scene awful to devastation. There was no sign of Lena or her team, only the haunting silence of the island. The only thing they found was a single waterlogged journal, Lena's, detailing the terrifying events of their last days. The final entry was scrawled, almost illegible, a testament to her fading sanity. But the last words were clear, etched into the page with a chilling finality. The music, it calls, ... I can't fight it. The ocean, ... it wants us, ... To this day, the island remains uninhabited, a place of haunting beauty and chilling mystery. Fishermen who venture too close report hearing faint, beautiful melodies carried on the wind, a sound that draws them closer, a song that promises eternal peace, but delivers only the cold embrace of the deep. And sometimes, on moonlit nights, if you look closely at the waves, you can almost see shadowy forms dancing in the moonlight, forever bound to the siren's song, forever lost to the ocean's dark allure.